If you've been keeping your eyes glued to the tennis world this summer, then you already know that Alex Eala has been putting together an absolute masterclass of a run. We're talking about pure, unadulterated sports magic. From an unforgettable historic statement at Wimbledon all the way to capturing her very first WTA singles title in Washington, D.C., she turned herself into the undisputed talk of the entire tennis landscape. Everywhere you looked, on social media, on sports networks across the global tour, everyone was breaking down her game and wondering just how high her ceiling really is. But then, the tour rolled into the Cincinnati Open, and with it came a brutally tough, uncompromising reality check. It wasn't Aryna Sabalenka standing across the net. It wasn't Coco Gauff staring her down. It was the red-hot American star, Amanda Anisimova, holding down the world number 10 spot. And right there, under the bright lights in the round of 32, Alex's sensational Cincinnati campaign officially came to an abrupt halt. Now, when a breakout star takes a tough loss like that, the knee-jerk reaction for casual fans is to hit the panic button and assume the wheels are falling off. But here's the single most important thing you need to understand. Taking an L on a Tuesday night in Ohio does not mean her momentum has evaporated into thin air. The burning question right now isn't a shallow one like, why did Alex lose this match? The real, defining question that will shape the rest of her career is, what did she actually take away from this battle? And that is precisely where things get wildly fascinating, especially when you bring in the blueprint of Maria Sharapova, a legendary 5-time Grand Slam champion who also happens to be Alex Eala's ultimate childhood hero. To really wrap your head around why this Cincinnati exit is such a pivotal stepping stone rather than a disaster, we have to hit the rewind button and look at the sheer madness of what went down leading up to this tournament. Riding high on the electric wave she created during her historic Wimbledon breakthrough, Alex carried all that juice straight into Washington. And make no mistake about it, this wasn't just your run-of-the-mill, lucky bracket title run. In the Washington Open final, she stared down top-tier American powerhouse Jessica Pegula and pulled off a stunning, historic upset. With that epic performance, she officially etched her name into the history books as the very first player representing the Philippines to ever win a WTA tour-level singles title. Just think about the sheer grit of that championship match for a second. After dropping the opening set 4-6, a lot of young players would have folded like a cheap lawn chair under that kind of pressure against a seasoned veteran like Pegula. But Alex dug deep in her bag. She clawed her way back to take the second set 6-4, and then in the deciding third set, she went into full Terminator mode, delivering a ruthless, flawless 6-0 bagel to seal the championship. As confirmed by major global outlets like Reuters, that epic comeback was pure, undeniable proof of elite mental toughness. So by the time she stepped foot on the hard courts in Cincinnati, everything had completely shifted. She wasn't just some scrappy, under-the-radar underdog anymore. She had a massive bullseye on her back. There were serious expectations. There was heavy pressure from the international media. And above all else, there was this massive freight train of momentum that she was expected to maintain night in and night out. Her opening round in Cincinnati proved right out of the gate that life at the top comes with zero easy days. She drew a dangerous and gritty competitor in Elena Gabriela Ruse. But from the first ball strike, Alex looked locked in and dominant. She came out firing on all cylinders, blowing past Ruse to claim the first set in a lopsided 6-1 blowout. In the second set, Alex kept her foot firmly on the gas pedal, racing out to a comfortable 3-0 lead before Ruse was forced to throw in the towel and retire due to an injury. The Women's Tennis Association made it official. Eala defeated Ruse 6-1, 3-0 retired. Just like that, Alex punched her ticket to the round of 32. And that brings us directly to our very first major takeaway. No matter who you are, no matter how confident you feel, and no matter how much hype is blowing up your phone, not every tournament is going to end with you hoisting a trophy. That is simply the cold, hard reality of professional tennis. The true measuring stick of an elite athlete isn't just stacking up flashy highlight reels and racking up wins when everything is going your way. The real test of greatness is how you respond when you get punched in the mouth and have to stare down defeat. And that gut check moment arrived in the round of 32 against Amanda Anisimova. Anisimova is an absolute hammer from the baseline, a top 10 superstar playing in front of her home country with plenty of her own momentum. But did Alex shrink under the spotlight? Not for a second. In the opening set, Alex came out swinging with total, fearless conviction, snatching the first set 6-4. At that exact moment, it really felt like this magical summer fairy tale was going to keep on rolling. Then the tide turned. Anisimova showed exactly why she belongs among the world's absolute elite. The American dialed in her ground strokes, made key tactical tweaks, and battled back to take the second set 6-4. With all the momentum shifting to the other side of the net, Anisimova completely seized the steering wheel in the deciding third set, closing out the match 6-2. When the dust settled, the final scoreline read: Amanda Anisimova defeats Alex Eala 4-6, 6-4, 6-2. And that right there delivers lesson number 2. In a modern game, it's all about the art of mid-match adjustments. Having a lights-out first set is never enough against the best players on the planet. Having a bulletproof game plan that works for 45 minutes is great, but the elite players are going to solve the puzzle. When your forehand is doing damage, a top 10 player will immediately change the spin or redirect the ball to neutralize it. When you're jumping all over their second serve with aggressive returns, they're going to change their toss, alter their targets, and take pace off to throw your timing completely out of sync. When you're dictating from the baseline, they're going to search for sharper angles and push you out of your comfort zone. The moment you feel the energy of a match slipping through your fingers, you have to counter-adjust on the fly before the contest gets completely out of reach. That is the invaluable masterclass Alex received from going toe-to-toe with Anisimova. It is definitely not a failure. It is pure, high-stakes court education. Grinding through a 3-set war against a legit top 10 player gives you data that you simply cannot buy or replicate on a practice court. The next time she finds herself up a set against an elite opponent, she's going to know how fast the momentum can swing, and she's going to have a much sharper understanding of how to manage those crucial early games in the second set. Now, let's talk about the absolute elephant in the room: managing expectations. Alex is living in a totally different stratosphere now compared to where she was just a year ago. Back in 2025, she was viewed as a bright, highly promising young prospect with tons of raw upside. Today, she is a certified WTA title holder. She is an athlete who pulled off a historic Wimbledon run and already proved she can take down top 10 players on the biggest stages. Winning that Washington crown as the first player from the Philippines wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a watershed moment for an entire nation. Naturally, the hype machine exploded. More fans packing the stands, more cameras jammed at her face, more media requests, and millions of supporters waiting with bated breath for her to win every single match she plays. But that's where the psychological pressure cooker gets dangerous. The most grueling part of blowing up in professional sports is learning how to breathe under the suffocating weight of new expectations. When a world gets used to seeing you win, every single loss suddenly gets treated like a national crisis. That is an entirely toxic and unrealistic way to look at athlete development. Alex has to internalize the truth that taking a loss is an essential, unavoidable part of the process. She does not need to win every single bracket she enters. She does not need to prove her worth to the world 7 days a week. The only mission is continuous, relentless micro-improvements. And that leads us right into the deeply compelling connection she shares with Maria Sharapova. Now, let's be completely real and transparent here. We don't need to invent fake quotes or sensationalize some made-up dramatic locker room story about what Maria supposedly said after the Anisimova match. The actual, factual reality of their dynamic is already powerful enough on its own. Sharapova has been Alex's absolute childhood idol since day one. In multiple interviews, Alex has openly stated that growing up, Maria was one of her ultimate sports inspirations. And the poetic beauty of this journey is that when Alex made her thunderous breakthrough at Wimbledon, Sharapova herself was among the prominent tennis icons who took notice and gave her public recognition. Just let that sink in for a moment. Picture being a little girl practicing your ground strokes, watching your hero dominate the grandest stages on television, and then fast forward a few years, and that exact same legend is watching your matches and acknowledging your talent on the world stage. The true takeaway from that Sharapova connection isn't some Hollywood melodrama. It's the profound realization that the heroes who inspired you yesterday can genuinely become the peers who recognize your greatness today. When you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, anyone looking at the Cincinnati scoreline in a vacuum could lazily say, well, Alex got knocked out in the round of 32. Party's over. But when you look at the entire summer swing as one cohesive narrative, Wimbledon, Washington, Cincinnati, you see a jaw-dropping evolution in real time. The WTA officially lists Alex Eala at just 21 years old. To have a premier WTA title under your belt, a landmark Wimbledon run, and a deep three-set barn burner against the world number 10 in Cincinnati by age 21 is nothing short of extraordinary. So what's the immediate roadmap from here? Alex has already silenced the critics who wondered if she had the firepower to hang with the best in the world. That debate is officially over. The next frontier for her is sustained consistency. She needs to package up the fearless swagger from Washington, the breakthrough belief from Wimbledon, and the tactical battle scars from Cincinnati, and bring all of that firepower straight into the hardcourt pressure cooker of the U.S. Open.